How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews back with new brewery time. A little bit of Five Rabbit Cervecería up in this piece in the form of their, Chinga tu Pueblo blonde ale. This beer means, or the translation in English is fuck your hair. Why fuck your hair? If you look at this, you probably get where this beer is coming from. But first, let's talk about the brewery a little bit. I've heard of these guys because of this beer specifically. And one of the workers are kind of reached out and says, "Hey man, dig the reviews and would love to send some stuff along." He sent this off along with a bunch of other beers, but this will be the first one we're diving into. A Latin-born, Latin-inspired brewery based out of Chicagoland area. And they do a bunch of different beers, a bunch of different cool kind of, a lot of cuisine-based, kind of food-based, kind of spice-based, it seems like, kind of beers. And they bring that kind of, that mixture of that kind of Latin kind of ingredient to the beer world. But it's just a basic blonde ale. It's an American blonde ale that they brewed. From what I remember, they brewed it actually as a in-house beer for Trump Towers. Well, Trump does the Trump thing, and, before he was even president, when he kind of said heinous shit like, all, Mexicans are murderers and rapists, which is, I still don't understand how the dude got elected. They did the right thing, and they kind of pulled their beer out of the Trump Towers there, and I assume this is the same beer that was in there, so I'm kind of pumped to dive into it. And like I said, I didn't really know much about the brewery before sending stuff off, other than the fact that they made this beer. And before I went online or hit record on here, I figured I'd go online, just look at them real quick. And they're not messing around here. They got a nice operation going in Chicago. The brewer is seems like not just passionate, but also kind of like, I don't know, willing to take a little bit of twists and turns when it comes to the beer world and the beers that he makes. But one of the weirdest things, and I don't say weird in a weird way, I just didn't expect it. Randy Mosher, Randy Mosher. You should know who Randy Mosher is. He is he's kind of like kind of acquired reading when it comes to getting into beer. His tasting beer book is kind of like should be on your table at all times when it comes to drinking beer. He's a creative director there, so I'm kind of pumped to dive in this and see where this goes. It's just basically a plan making fun of the person that's in the White House's. Well, when am I going to post this? He'll still be in the White House when I post this, but not much longer. Let's put it that way. But you're talking about an American blonde ale. It makes sense that it would go into like a kind of corporation, kind of like a Trump Tower, not to kind of diminish an American blonde ale, but trying to strip preconceived notions as much as I can. Not the most electric style of beer. Typically, it's kind of really kind of low in as far as characteristics from hop or malt based, but this is an American-born brewery, even though they're Latin-influenced, that they might bring a little bit of a twist to it, because a lot of people do label stuff as a blonde ale, but it is not. Let's put it that way. As far as what it says on this can, it says here, stop the hate. A brewery has no business meddling in politics, right? Probably so, but this hit very close to home for us. We decided to take a stance against racism, misogyny, bigotry, and ignorance. Quite possible, too small to make a real difference, but our protest is real. We would like to stand up for those who promote, I messed this up in unboxing too. We'd like to stand up to those who promote hate and fear. Fear is not the American way of life, so together, let us tackle extremism and any ideology that divides people instead of uniting them. Bullies aren't leaders. Hashtag Chinga tu Pueblo. Yeah. I love the can. I just fucking love it. As far as the beer goes, it looks like a blonde ale. I mean, soft, kind of yellow in color, like a soft, hazy, kind of Pilsner-y looking kind of jam. Nothing too crazy. Really tight, compact bubbles with a little bit of champagne, snow globe kind of carbonation going on. It looks like a very tasty, chuggable beer. It's what it's supposed to be. Do they have an ABV in here? I mean, I'm assuming this is coming in probably, give or take, around 5%. So we'll see what's what. See if we can get a nose. A little stuffy. Let's see what we get. It's the sweet maltiness, honestly. It does come off organic, kind of grain-driven. Doesn't give me much as far as corny vibes go. Not really much as far as any hop characteristic to it. It almost smells very much more like Kolschy to me. And not that I usually get a little melon characteristic. off Kolsch's. I don't get that off here, but it has this kind of crispness to it, almost like it's like a blonde ale, but it was cold fermented kind of blonde ale. And that's pretty much it. That soft, sweet malt characteristics. Nothing else outside of that other than kind of this whiff of crisp cleanliness. Let's dive in. Cheers. Ooh, there is a bitterness here. I did not expect that to come through. I never had the beer before, but based off the nose, even there, you get a little bit of soft hop aromatic maybe, but I didn't really get that. But in the taste, there's a nice pop of bitterness in there. It's got this creaminess to it. Very comes off as like almost like a cream ale to me, with a little bit of aggressive hopping. The hopping comes off a little bit melony for me, so a little bit of soft melon to it, but it really is more of kind of a bittering, kind of English herbal, kind of tannic kind of hop to it. That sweetness that's actually in the nose follows through directly into the taste, but nothing too overly aggressive. Maybe gets a little bit sweeter than you think it would based off of the nose, but when you get that nice pop of that kind of tannic herbal kind of bittering on the other end of things, it completely balances the beer out. And like I said, on the nose, for some reason, I was getting very much Kolsch vibes. This drink's very much body and mouthfeel wise like a classic kind of cream ale, or one of those old school kind of like Kentucky Common, California kind of common kind of ales. Way more expressive, both from a malt characteristic and a hop characteristic than what I usually would attribute to an American blonde ale. But who am I? I mean, Randy Mosier's calling this, a blonde ale, so I'm not going to say it's not. But I like it. I think it's fun. It actually surprised me. It gave me quite a bit more kind of personality than, like I said, what I typically expect from American blondes. Again, I try to go on these with zero preconceived notions, but when a beer says something on a label, it's kind of, not that I expect that, but it's, plants that seed in your brain, and you kind of be like, okay, I'll go into this kind of thinking this is what I'm going to get. I don't think I got much of a blonde ale here. Americanized version of a blonde ale. I know that's kind of dumb because it's an American blonde ale. When I say the Americanized version of a blonde ale, it's like the new school Americanized version of blonde ale, because the classic American blonde ale, like I said, doesn't really have much as far as characteristics to it. But I like it. I think it's fun. That bittering is probably my favorite portion of the show here. It's not super showy. It's not super like fruity, citra hopped or anything like that. Even though I got a little bit of subtle kind of melon characteristic off of it, it really is more about the bittering here. And it's pretty much like a really well done, really good version of a cream ale with a kind of hopped up malt bill or hop bill to it to bring a little bit of extra bittering to it. It's really fun. Yeah, I like this. I think it's fun. Listen, we can sit here, strip the beer away, and talk about how much I love the label. One of my favorite labels of all time. It is going back there immediately after I'm finishing this can. From the label design to the stance to what they're trying to pull off here, it was going to be really hard pressed for this beer not to impress me. But I think that actually goes kind of counter to what you think, in that, I wanted to like this beer. I wanted to like this beer. I wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be tasty. I wanted it to be more than what I typically get from a blonde ale. So that's what I wanted, and that's what I expected to a certain extent. But since it is a blonde ale, you kind of go into it a little, you try to temper, but it's hard. It's exceeded those expectations, and I think that's harder to do when you actually, that's what you're expecting. So I think it's fun. I think it's tasty. I think it's a great chugger. I hope this is sub 5%, but for some reason I think this is a little bit higher. Maybe mid 5s to pushing 6. But if this is sub 5%, this is an absolutely tasty beer. And something, I would want in, a big tub filled with water with a little bit of ice and surrounded by friends, whether it be, playing a little bit of golf, doing a little bit of barbecuing, any of those kind of things. That's where this beer kind of shines the best, but it's still worthy of having a conversation, especially when you're a brewery who's trying to kind of, they say, make any difference at all, the small difference they'll make. But this is how great things are done, is when everybody's united together, not through bigotry or hate, but through trying to prop everybody up and do good things. And that's what this beer is doing, both literally and figuratively, which is pretty fun. So yeah, let's talk about it. Is this one of the better blonde ales, American blonde ales I've had as of late? Again, I don't think of it as that, but it might be one of the best ones I've ever had, because it's just showing me expression above and beyond what you typically get from there. Like I said, it comes off more of like a cream ale. Not that cream ales are the most showy beers in the world, but that's how it comes off both malt side and mouthfeel wise, but that added extra bitterness to it really kind of gives a little bit of funness. Let's put it this way. This is one of the better non-hop showy, non-overly crazily messed with kind of I don't want to use simple, fizzy yellow beer. Do we want to say that? Anyway, you know what I'm trying to get at? Yes, it's a fun beer, man. I like it. I think it tastes great, and I think it is just something I want in 30 racks. Let's put it that way. Value and availability, no idea. Somebody out there in Chicagoland will have to let me know what's what when it comes to this beer and leave you with, if you like what, will you like this? If you like good chuggers, man. If you like good chuggers, you like breweries trying to do well, and you don't like the hate, man. You want people to just, good people to do good things and, paint a path of brightness instead of dastardly deediness, then you'll like this beer. So there you go. Another review in the books. I got a couple Five Rabbits in the chute, so I'll probably post a bunch of these around the same time, hopefully right around Christmas time. This is early in December, so we'll see what's what. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you have any questions, comments, whatever down there, if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Massive Beers, Beer Massif, if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of a little blonde ale right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers.